Hello, my beautiful friends. I am sorry that I didn't get here all weekend to read runes, but it has been crazy. So, it started on Friday. I was supposed to um, go this weekend to a conference in out by Pittsburgh because I signed up to go to this Mother Earth conference, which I thought was going to be all about like crystals and the witchy crap I'm into. Turns out it was about raising chickens, and I don't have any chickens, so I was like, well, I don't want to drive all the way out there. Plus, my son has this job, and we have to take him, and his grandmother doesn't drive it in the dark. So we kind of shifted gears, and Dave had wanted to go to some car show with his buddies, so it worked out. And so I said, but I'm not taking any hikers this weekend. So on Thursday night I got a call that they were desperate for shelter workers for Red Cross in Reading, which isn't too far from me. And while normally a deployment is 2 weeks, I was like, well, I can at least cover for one night because they were really desperate for that for Thursday night going into Friday. So I was like, all right, well, or was it Friday night into Saturday? No, it's Thursday night into Friday because today's Saturday. So I was like, all right, well, I'll go. So you stay up all night. You're not allowed to sleep. So listen, I've never worked night shift. There's probably a good reason for that. I spent a lot of time in the wheelchair just rolling back and forth, just trying to keep myself awake. But it was all good. So I come home and I was like, I'm going to go for breakfast before I go home. So I go into our local breakfast place and there's three guys who are obviously hikers and they looked kind of familiar to me. And so we get talking, and here it turns out that I met them down at Damascus for Trail Days in 2021, which is this big hiker festival that happens every year. And so they were staying at that hostel. So I was like, well, stop by the yard. And they come by the yard and we talk. And I'm like, hey, you should. They wanted to know a good place to go and like, dance and have a party. So I was like, and drink and stuff. So I was like, well, where my son works, they're having a DJ tonight. So, if you want to go, I'll take you. And, one thing leads to another with the hiking world. And before you know it, we're all going out. So we go out, have a great time. My friend Flapper comes. It's a good time. And then today they were supposed to hike out in the morning, but they decided it was too hot, and they were still kind of like vortexing in Palmerton. So I said I would take them up to Delaware Water Gap, and these guys have hiked the trail before, so it's not like, they're not skipping parts of the trail; they're all through hikers already. So like just everything is crazy and we finally get there and it's really foggy and I have my mother-in-law's car which has the worst windshield in the world and you can't see in the fog and it doesn't defrost right and I don't have Bluetooth because her car doesn't have Bluetooth. All of ours are outfitted with it and I'm totally outfitting hers with it too because let me tell you, I couldn't hear the directions. I get lost coming home. My GPS, and I can barely hear it, is taking me on all these weird back roads and it's foggy and it's dark and I can't see and I'm nervous and I'm like gripping. My hands still hurt from how tight I was holding the steering wheel. And I have to get my son, and my son is a little bit like Rain Man. So like, he's done at 11 and I had better be there at 11 or he starts to get upset. And and then it's not the kitchen staff's job to deal with my upset son. I need to be on time. So it takes me on all these back roads. I'm having to drive over trees that have fallen, and I don't have my Jeep, so I have this like little tiny car, and I'm like, holy crap, I have to drive over these trees. So like I'm like nervous, I'm like freaking out myself, and I'm like, I just got to get to my son. I just have to get to my boy. I'll get there, and I'm like, Spirit, just get me there. So, I mean, it was crazy. Like it was crazy, and I couldn't see, and these weren't real roads. Like they were like pretend roads. It was crazy. So finally, I go to turn on the street that this place is on, and everybody's yelling at me. It's closed. It's closed. I'm like, what? And I turn the corner, and this is a huge, huge place with a lot of lights. Completely dark. Completely dark. So it's dark and foggy, and I'm like, what the hell? There's nobody in the parking lot. And I'm like, oh my God, my kid's freaking out. I know he's freaking out. So like now my mama heart's running, right? So like I've been freaking out. Now I'm freaking out because my mama heart's running and I like park and I can't see anything because I have really very, very poor vision most of the time anyway, but definitely at night and definitely in the dark with no lamp. And so like I jump out of the car. I don't think to take my phone, which has a flashlight, because I'm a boomer and I forget that it has a flashlight. So I can't see any faces. I don't know people well enough to distinguish voices. So finally somebody had like flashed a light in front of him. It's the bouncer guy. So I was like, oh, I know that guy. And then when I called out to him, then the general manager came running and he's like, don't you answer your freaking phone? I'm like, I was driving and my phone is always set to silence when I'm driving because I don't want to be distracted by phones. So he has to like hold my hand and walk me to my son because I can't see and there's these giant puddles everywhere. And like, I mean, I've been there, quite a few times now because my son's there, but I don't really know, the landscape all that well. So he has to like lead me to my kid who is in a chair. Somebody wise put him in a chair. And, I comfort him, and he was all worried that all the world had lost power, and my son goes right to the apocalypse. So we no apocalypse, and so we're trying to like get around, and I'm trying to find his boss, who's the chef, who's just like him and the general manager, like two of the greatest guys. Like I couldn't ask for better dudes to be bosses to my kid. So I connect with him, let him know that I'm taking Julian. And like, Julian's freaking out because he's like, did we lose power in all of Pennsylvania and all the United States? I mean, it was just absolutely crazy. So meanwhile, this hiker who is supposed to stay at the hospital in town gets kind of stiffed by them. So he is stranded at the subway. And so, so we get him into the yard, but I'm like, don't go into the house. Like, because my other son is the only one home, and he's going to see somebody in the yard, and this is a very well protected house. So I'm like texting him, like, there's a dude in the yard, I know he's there. He's not going to come in the house. So after all this, I finally get home, and I'm just like, oh my God, what a day. But like so many things happen. Like this morning we took our son, my older son wanted to go yard sailing, so we did that. And like he's wearing a sweatshirt and shorts, and it's like 9,000 degrees out and humidity, and I'm like, what the hell? And like he wanted to go to McDonald's for breakfast, which I don't like McDonald's, so like I always get sick from their food. So like that happened. And then I'm in the yard and I go to charge my phone. I come out, there's another hiker there, but he's a hiker that was with us in 2021 who had been like really sick when he was at the house. So he came back to visit because he's interning at Hershey, and wanted to visit some of the places that he loved, and he wanted to come and reminisce with us. And I'm like, it was just like a day, like a weekend filled with the craziest stuff. So it's a good thing I didn't go to the Mother conference. But great guys. They were the mayor, and then Bad Wolf, and I always want to call him Easy Rider, but that's not it. Free Rider. And just three of the best dudes that you know. And Bad Wolf actually has a really cool story. He's carrying his brother's ashes up the trail. He and his brother are both veterans, and his brother committed suicide in 2020. So he's dispersing the ashes all along the trail. So I will see them again in New Jersey when we meet, and I play pipes when he disperses ashes in New Jersey. So, I mean, just an amazing weekend. But obviously, that meant I didn't pull any Rune Stones for you guys. I pulled some for myself, and I had my friend read some cards for me. But I figure I better get in here and read some for you. So everything is still in my Red Cross bag, including these chips that I ate at 4 in the morning. And I'll tell you, I'm so beat. I took a book. Everything's in my Red Cross bag. I did pull this out. So, for those of you who watch the channel, I have some unboxings to do. A bunch of boxes came over the weekend, which I did not open because I was busy. And I'm too tired now to do it. Where are my roots? Well, let me pause here and go find what I did with them. Oh, are they there? Do I hear them? I have the weirdest stuff in here. Oh, there's a headlamp in this bag. Isn't that funny? This is my go bag for Red Cross, so I can go on a moment's notice. There they are. I hear them. I feel them. Where are they? There we go. So we're just going to do a general reading. Honest to Pete. Tell you, like, my energy is just like, whew. Somebody has texted me on Facebook. What was I going to say? So, in general, I'm a pretty deep thinker. I'm pretty intense as a person, so that's one of the reasons I don't. I have a wide net of people that I absolutely love and adore. And I was thinking this morning, because we had a conversation about this last night. Um, I'm a person who pours out a lot of love, but I tend to not let people love me back. Not because I don't want love, obviously I do, everybody does, but just because, growing up, love was always transactional. I always had to do something to be loved. Like, I'll love you if you do X, or I'll love you if you think Y. And my brother would not agree, I don't think. That wasn't his experience, or at least that's not how he took it, but that's how I took it. So I tried, and I mean, I love people, and I am very outgoing in that regard, but I, on the flip side, don't really allow people to get past here. And I'm trying to be better about it. I'm trying to let people in. Because even some of the people who are the closest to me that I've known the longest don't know things. Because I've just learned that, you know, I've been conditioned, right, to think that love is one directional. I give it, and I'm trying to be better, and it's a little hard. Um, so I was thinking about that this morning, and I was thinking about how much I've grown in trying to let people love me back and let me and ask for help when I need it. And I thought like a sort of a graduation point for that idea was tonight when we were at the thing. I would never have asked somebody to like hold my hand and walk me to my son. I would have tried to do it on my own because like in the past it would have been like, well, what do I owe this person? Like, this person helped me, so how do I have to repay them? And because that's how I was raised, like, nothing is for free. So and then I was like, no, this is a good person who is going to help me, and he's not going to say, well, you owe me this. And at least I don't think, but I'm pretty sure he's not going to. So I thought that was a big aha moment, a big graduation moment for me. So little baby steps, baby steps. So anyway, let's pull some runes and see what our energy is. Present stone. Can't even see. Oh, it's chaos, which this was an absolutely chaotic weekend. Good chaos. I mean, chaos isn't always bad, but good chaos. And what led to it? The mana stone, which is humanity. So that's the outcome. Birkenau, which is birth. So, like chaos, absolutely. Absolutely, that's the energy I'm in. I have a headache. The pressure of, the air just kicking my butt. But, what came into this was just like, like, had I been home, I would have gotten the calls. I'm always home. Like, I'm always home. And, like, the one night that I go and I take hikers to Delaware Water Gap, like, that's the night, like, things go south and nobody can get a hold of me. Like, you could always get a hold of me. Even when I'm in the woods, like, even in the woods, I use an extender and then you can get a hold of me. And like, it was just, and then I think it's kind of like, almost like a lesson, like, like, it was okay. Like, I, I, I don't trust people with my kid. I know, that's like, this is like Confessions with BRG. Only because they don't understand him. A lot of people aren't kind. He is disabled. He can't always articulate what he needs or wants. He is a grown man, but he is disabled, and so I don't trust the motives of people, and I don't trust how they'll treat him. And so I had to let it go because I have to trust that, the general manager and the chef and the kitchen staff are going to be decent human beings and do what's right. And they did do what's right, right? So, like, the chaos I feel and the headache I have, this wealth of emotion of me not being there, not, like, there would be a time when I would have felt so guilty for not being able to be reached, but I was driving too, and if I had answered the phone, I was already, like, terrified of running into crap or deer running out or whatever, because I was on these roads that weren't really roads. Like, I can trust in the help of other people. right? So that's kind of a birth of a new idea that I don't. It's all right to trust in other people sometimes. We'll keep practicing. We'll keep practicing. All right, let's read some cards. You know, it's funny because for as laid back as I am, my Janis Joplin nature, the hippie girl that's inside, I'm a bit of a control freak when it comes to my kid. You know, like I'm not a control freak when it comes to cleaning my house or having a clean car or anything like that. But when it comes to my children, I am a bit of a control freak because I want to make sure that they're safe. I mean, I think that's true probably of all parents, but I think special needs parents, like, we're kind of trained, we're kind of conditioned right from the start, because you have to be an advocate all the time for your kid. So, but it's okay. There are other good people in the world. I'm not the only one. All right, 3 passes. We'll see what the cards say. Pass 1. Pass 2. Pass 3, and then came out, and on the bottom it says dream. Manifest, plan, and be. So, I don't... Oh, wait. There was a card that was left in the box. How funny. Let's see. It was meant to be picked up. And it is Portal. Change, Gateway, New Beginnings. And Birkenau is New Beginnings also. So I think it's like just a reminder from Spirit that this, you know, opening up, being somebody who both gives and receives love is a good thing. I'm not entirely comfortable with that theory yet. I rather love people than have them love me back. I don't want to ever own him. I never want to be beholden. Like, that's the word I always think of when I think about growing up. Always beholden. You know, like, if somebody did something nice for you, you had to repay them. There was always some cost to it, which is one of the reasons why, like, we do what we do with the hikers. Like, there's no charge. There's no fees. There's nothing. They can donate, and then the money goes out in donations to other projects that help hikers or veterans. And because I want people to know that they don't have to do anything for love, right? You know, it's kind of like a bad Meatloaf song, right? I'd do anything, but I wouldn't do that, right? That song. You know, I want people to know that, but I still feel like, you know, when anybody does anything nice for me, I'm like, what do you want in exchange? Like, what is the energy exchange you're expecting? I think that's the lesson I'm trying to learn in this life, is how to get over that. Let's see if there's any cards from here. Pass 1. Be a new beginning for me for sure. Pass 2. And pass 3. Nothing came out, and on the bottom we have Divine Light. And that's, you know, the Standing Stones, which that other one is Standing Stone as well. It's all about wisdom. It's all about, you know, seeing beyond the physical world and seeing the light of the world. So, So, out of chaos comes new beginnings. I don't know what your new beginnings are, but sometimes chaos is good because it helps you think about things. And for me, the lesson is that I can trust others to do good by Julian. I mean, I'm very fortunate that I have these 2 guys who are really good dudes, you know, sort of in charge. And then the other people in the kitchen, I have to say, are awesome as well. So, it went okay. And it isn't an ironic that I couldn't be contacted. And trust me, Divination technology, I can be contacted in multiple ways, in multiple languages, in multiple devices, but I couldn't be. And it was like, this is the lesson that I needed to learn, is that, you know, I do a lot of nice things for other people, and people do nice things for me, and it's okay. I can let them, and just be grateful. I'm wishing you all the very best in light and love. Be well. Take care. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.